We'd like to welcome everybody to Dyess Top 3 Professional Development YouTube Live. My name is Senior Master Sergeant Christopher Cohen.
I'm Technical Sergeant Lolly.
And we are from the mighty LRS.
Cool.
So today, we're going to talk to you about mindfulness and physical resilience. So mindfulness, what is mindfulness? So if we talk about it, it says paying attention, there we go, in the present on purpose. All right, so it could be something simple that everybody understands or they think they use, but sometimes we don't pay attention to it. So mindfulness, acknowledge the situation and disengage from it, identify and understand what you control, and taking purpose actions to stay focused. Helps you train your mind to control where your attention goes rather than letting your mind control you. So again, it could be something simple, but a lot of times we don't apply it. So that's why we're talking about it here today. So mindfulness is a practice that becomes a resilience skill that helps you successfully learn to apply some techniques to focus on the one thing right now under your control, so you can be present in the moment. So how does the mindfulness skill help you? Stay present and engage. You want to always, in our duties as military members or whatever your position is, you want to stay focused, you want to be productive, and you want to be alert. So if you have a lot of clutter going on in your mind, distractions, that will stop you from being present and engaged. So that's overall what the goal we're talking about mindfulness about. You went too far. You went too far. Go back two, sir. Yes, sir. One more. Go back. One more. Go back. So improve focus and ability to concentrate on what is important, take purposeful action during stressful times, and improve sleep and physical health. So again, if your mind is cluttered, again, you want to be physically able to function during the day. So if your mind is cluttered, you want to be able to get that sleep and get that physical health. So Sergeant Lottie, what does mindfulness mean to you?
Yeah, so for me, it can mean many things. Kind of like you hit on earlier, being present in the moment is very important. There's just a lot of things that you do need to be present in the moment for. One of the first things that kind of comes to mind is, testing, WAPS testing. Whenever I was doing when I was testing for, staff and tech, it was very hard for me to stay focused and be mindful about, what I was doing without my mind kind of going back and forth, between, people hitting you up on social media, you got people blowing up your phone.
Definitely.
So, so when I think of mindfulness, like kind of you said, just kind of getting rid of all the distractions and just focus on the most important thing that's in front of you at the moment. So, this is one of those techniques I think a lot of people could use for multiple situations.
All right, so in this module of mindfulness, there are 3 approaches. The first one is informal mindfulness, which practices to help focus on one thing. The second one is formal mindfulness, structural practices, techniques that you can use during your time of distraction or during your time of stressful moments to get you back on track. The third one is mindfulness in the moment. So we stress that in the moment. Just a quick, because we're going to talk about all 3 of these later on. But in the moment, when you're about to lose it, when you're about to go off and say something you shouldn't say, kick the wall, whatever, finding that technique to bring you back on track. So informal madness, stay present. So if you look at the slide right here, it says dwell on the past and worry about the future, but what we want you to stay in is stay in the present. Because there's a lot of times through our history or through past, things we've done in the past, we focus on that sometimes. It could be good or bad. It could be some bad habits, whatever it may be that we hold on to. I'm just talking about just personal now. And that's a part of also being mindful of letting things go that has happened in the past that affects your day-to-day action and productivity. And then we worry about things in the future where we want to go, or promotions, or it could be assignments, or it could be a vacation, or anything can divert your mind for what's the task at hand. So again, we want to stay present. We often spend time thinking about things that have happened in the past. We can dwell on the past things, like decisions we have made or bad, or we get caught up and dwell on the future, things that happen in the future or yet to happen. So again, informal mindfulness. Throughout the day, be aware of how often we are focused on technology, multiple tasks, and other distractions. So again, technology. I know everybody got an electronic device, iPad, phone, computer, and we stay on those things often. Matter of fact, it's part of our life now. I think some of us, if we get rid of it, or we put it down, we lose it. We get frustrated off that. And then we also have multiple tasks that we do at work. It could be personal multiple tasks, education, family time, whatever it may be, other distractions that we do in our day-to-day that can pull us from whatever we're trying to focus on in the moment. So the whole objective is to focus on the moment and be doing one thing in the present with full attention, and also recognize and savor good moments when they come your way throughout the day. I mean, a good moment that comes your way, you wanna dwell on that a little bit. You want to savor that moment. You want to, if it could be about your airmen, it could be about yourself, it could be about your team, and just be proud of that. We often don't get those good pat on the backs, so it's good when you get a pat on the back, especially as LRS, awesome squadron we are. So if we do get some kind of recognition, we expect it anyway because we're a hardworking team, but it feels good when you get those recognitions. So moving on. So, practices of the mindful grounding, mindful walking, and mindful breathing. So the first technique, these are 3 techniques that he gave us to do, right? And we're not going to do them. We're going to talk about them and discuss them. So mindful grounding, basically just closing your eyes and just visualizing what things around you at, taking deep breaths, and that's the first one there, mindful grounding. The second one is mindful walking. I think we all do some of this probably, and sometimes we don't even know it. Basically just getting up, I ain't say imagining, but just thinking about feeling your feet touch the ground, lifting your legs up, and just the movement of your legs, and just thinking about and taking stress off yourself. And the third one, mindful breathing. I know I do this one a lot. Focus on breathing. Notice if your attention wanders, but basically just taking a deep breath. On a busy day, you sit back, after phone calls come in, or different taskers, get a call from first sergeant by one of your airmen, or it could be anything, sometimes it builds up and you just stop, take a deep breath and just refocus. And then with the walking one, mindful walking, sometimes like myself, I get up and go walk through the warehouse, just to detach myself from the mission for a little bit and go check on the airman, or just stretch a little bit and see how everybody's doing, and get a smile, so just see how everybody's doing. So just a way to detach, but then come back, jump in the hot seat, and get back on focus. So I know I actually do one of these. Which one of these 3 that you mostly use?
Well, I'm not much of a walker,
Okay. All right.
So for me, mindful breathing, I think that would probably be one of my favorite. If there was such thing as a mindful jogging, I think that would probably fall in that category. Sure. But I don't think that's an option here. But yeah, definitely mindful breathing. If I'm having a hard day at work or maybe at home, that helps me a lot. I'll find like a room somewhere where it's quiet and where I can kind of practice these principles, and just kind of gets rid of that stress.
Sir. So again, how do you feel after the exercise? Somebody just answer his. I think that the whole objective, how you feel after the exercise, is just more relaxed, more focused, got your mind off that situation, you disconnected, and then, like I said, got back on track. And what was difficult about the exercise? It's not difficult, it's just I believe the hard part about it is acknowledging when to step away, to clear your mind, and get back on track. I think that's the hardest part. Find time and just acknowledge that I need to step away for a minute.
Making the time.
Yes,
Yep. Exactly.
So formal mindfulness is a series of regular practice techniques designed to train the mind to control thoughts rather than letting thoughts control the mind. So basically, you decide on what technique you want to use throughout the day, or when I say throughout the day, whenever you're going through a mindful moment, as in stress or frustration, So like we talked about earlier, breathing. They even got a progressive muscle relaxation, which is a deep relaxation technique that they use. You got visual scripts. So the visual scripts, I guess for people, can sit back and just dream or imagine themselves at a beach, imagine themselves in Hawaii, or imagine themselves at the golf course, a place you could put yourself to make yourself feel better. And then another one is prayer or other spiritual practices. I know for myself, in the morning, sometimes you think you're stressed, I pray and you read the devotional. Don't get me wrong, you have to say, Lord, help me sometime, because the mission, the Air Force, is very demanding, very demanding. So that's one thing you got to recognize. When you need that help, call for that help. And then you also got yoga, exercise, and meditation. So I know, Sergeant, a lot of you do yoga, right?
Oh yeah, I do a little bit.
A little yoga, tights.
Short shorts. What'd you say? Your shorts are shorter than Richard Simmons?
But which one do you? You prefer to do if you are stressed or feel stressed out?
My wife does yoga, and I don't do the yoga. All right. But for me, kind of like you were saying, prayer is very, very important to me as well. I pray, several times throughout the day, in the morning, afternoon, before I go to bed. Exercise would be another good one for me. We'll kind of touch on the benefits of exercise in a minute, but exercise just makes me feel a whole lot better. I feel so much better when I do it, and when I'm working out, there's also a lot of thinking involved when I'm working out. So that's some of the things that I use to help me out.
Okay. So number 3 of the different techniques were mindfulness in the moment. So like we say, in the moment. Basically, this is when you about to go off on somebody, you frustrated, you about to kick a hole in the wall, throw your coffee cup, what else? Just in the moment, something is not going right, and you just about to lose it. You acknowledge that, acknowledge that anger or that frustration, and then disengage from it. So I know a lot of people some can do that, and some can't. It's a frustration is more of a you have to practice this. That's why we talk about mindfulness, because you have to practice this. Some people not good at it. They're going to tell you how you feel regardless. But the whole objective here is to be able to recognize when you get stressed out, or recognize when you're about to go off on somebody, and disengage from that and come back on track. So now we're going to talk about mindfulness, a little activity for mindfulness in the moment. So basically, it's a simple one that I would ask y'all to do, but since we're doing live, if you want to take this little nugget here and just save it for the next week, or when you come to work on Monday morning, pause when you get stressed out or get distracted or you're frustrated, count 3 deep breaths, observe your thoughts and feelings, don't judge them, just observe them. When you feel more grounded, move to the question, what's most important to focus on right now? That's how you're going to disengage from it, and then move with purposeful action, and then it should be good to go. So I know you did this, but I asked you to do this one. So
right.
One day this week I said, Salih, can you pull yourself, remember to do this exercise. Did you take time and do it?
I did. Yeah. You know how it is in inbound cargo. It gets kind of crazy. But I did find there was a certain time frame. I had a few minutes to kind of break away, and went in the back rooms and just took a few minutes, got away from all the carriers and stuff for a few minutes, and just started working on the technique. We had a lot of issues in the section that day, and my stress, I felt my stress levels increasing, and it didn't feel very good. So I broke away for a good 5 minutes and just worked on that. And when it was all said and done, it just made me feel so much better, and I was able to really just focus on what's really important right now, and kind of take away some of those stressors that were bothering me at the moment. So
okay. So again, we're moving on. When could you use mindfulness in the moment? So a lot of times at work. So I'm gonna do that work one, Sergeant. A lot of gonna talk about at home, but from my experience, a lot of times, like I say, when you get stressful, when you're about to lose it, something keep building up, you have to, like I said, disconnect for a second, a few minutes to get yourself together and say, it's going to be all right. This here too shall pass. It's going to get better. So basically disconnect and breathe a little, or go for a walk. And that's just, I ain't gonna say a quick recharge, but a quick refocus to say, okay, I'm good now. Let's jump back into the seat. So, sound like about work or home? Let's give me home.
Yeah, for me it'd be more. Of course, I got example for both, but I'll give one for personal life. For me, especially when it comes to WAPS testing, kind of hit on it earlier. Same thing when I was working on my degree. Getting your degree online takes a lot more self-discipline.
Yes, it does.
As you know, you're doing yours right now.
Yes, sir.
And you just have to be very mindful about your current situation, and you can't let all those distractions get a hold of you. It's very easy to be doing homework. You get a phone call, or people are hitting you up on your social media, and you just kind of get distracted. Especially with WAPS testing, PDG is not the most It's not the most easiest thing to read. It's a little dry. And it's very easy just to kind of get distracted. So I think being mindful at the moment is, having those techniques and practicing, focusing for a certain period of time. I mean, you can get better with it the more you practice, but just practicing, focusing on one thing for a certain length of time, and honestly, you can just get more things accomplished that way.
All right. So we've come to the end of mindfulness. So overall, mindfulness can help you stay focused in the moment, be more open to experiences, and stay engaged. Again, if you learn one thing from this mindfulness, is to be able to, if I want you to put one thing from this, is to be able to acknowledge when you're about to be stressed, or you see stressor come along, or you see you about to be frustrated, or you're about to say something you shouldn't say. The mindfulness part is addressing that, then disengaging from that, and then getting back to the task at hand. So that's the overall objective here with mindfulness. But mindfulness is also helpful when you are facing stress and adversity. Like I said, sometimes we experience negative events that we can't control, and sometimes you can't control. It depends on what the event is. Rather than avoiding any negative thoughts, mindfulness can help you acknowledge the discomfort so you can focus on taking purposeful action. That's overall goal there. And just to recap on the mindfulness, the three techniques are informal mindfulness, formal mindfulness, and mindfulness in the moment. Back to informal, to stay focused on one thing and be present. Basically, whatever you got in front of you, whatever task or whatever the mission is, you focus on that and don't let nobody pull you or distract you. Stay on that. Formal mindfulness, a practice to train, like a technique as a meditation, yoga, walking, anything that you believe that will make you feel better or help you disengage from that frustration or stress at the time to get you back on track. And then mindfulness in the moment. All right. So again, in the moment, I stress that in the moment part, regardless of what's going on in that last moment when something hits you, the impact of it, the overwhelming, catch yourself from saying something, doing something wrong, or throwing something. I hope nobody does that, but that's just the example I'm giving. So it happens.
It happens.
So that sums up there mindfulness. So I hope if y'all have any questions, I'll wait to the end to get those questions. And then right now I'm going to turn it over to Sergeant Lolly.
All right. So the next section is going to be the physical resilience and strengthening attention and focus section. This is one that means a lot to me, and I'll try to keep it under an hour.
And Mr. PT.
Yeah, exactly. So some main points that we're gonna be looking at today is understanding the link between physical fitness and also mental fitness, and how those two kind of relate with each other. How those affect just your overall physical performance, your leadership performance, and just your overall health. A lot of you guys have probably heard of the mind-body connection. All right. Some people don't think that's a thing. It is an actual thing. The body and the mind, they're always talking with each other, and so the two and two really, they go hand in hand, right? We'll be looking at some tools that help when it comes to nutrition, physical fitness, and the different types of fitness that you can do, such as strength, endurance, and then also recovery. And then we're also going to talk about the importance of sleep, some tools you can use to kind of help, maybe if you're struggling with sleep. We'll look at some different ways you can kind of fix that. So from some main points when it comes to physical resilience skills and ways to improve your mind-body connection. All right, and that's going to come back to your nutrition. What you put in your body. Also, the way that you work out. There's different ways you can work out. You got people who focus on strength. There's some people who focus on endurance. There's a lot of other ways you can implement those types of routines. Recovery. You got some people who work out 7 days a week, and I don't know how they do it, but
beast.
Yeah.
Yes.
But sleep. So all those different factors, those influence your ability to focus, your energy levels, your mood, just overall well-being, and we'll talk about that and show you how those things kind of correlate with each other. So the biggest thing, everybody's always trying to find shortcuts in life in general. Specifically when it comes to physical fitness and
True.
when it comes to nutrition, people are always trying to find shortcuts. They want that magical pill they can just take, and it just takes all that away. Unfortunately, that's not real. I hate to say it. You have to put in the work. You got to get yourself the routines. Eat the healthy meals, get sleep. There's no shortcuts. So the quicker you realize that, hey, there's no shortcuts when it comes to this, and you just got to make the hard decisions and make it happen for you. So the kind of what we're talking about with the mind-body connection, the two are very important, and they work very well with each other, right? And what I've kind of learned over the years is, when you're working out, it takes a certain level of toughness, mental toughness. And I'll give you an example. Is we did a 5K this morning for PT, and halfway through it, my body started hurting. I was tired. I didn't want to finish it, but mentally I was like, hey, I know I got to finish this. So a lot of times, when you're working out, you have to mentally be strong, and that kind of correlates with being mentally resilient, right?
Sure.
So when you're working out, of course it's not going to be easy. I hope it's not easy. You have to have some type of mental toughness when it comes to working out, and that's why the two and two really correlate with you. If you're a very mentally tough individual, that's going to help you when it comes to your physical fitness, because you're going to be able to push yourself beyond the limits when maybe someone who's not as mentally tough, they would give up early.
Yeah.
So those two go hand in hand together, and they help you achieve the results that you want. So we'll talk about stress for a second. Everybody has stress in their lives throughout the day. Everybody has some type of stress that they come in contact with. When you have stress, how does it make you feel when you deal? I know you deal with a lot more stress than I do. Sorry, go on, but
I think we all have stress. I mean, there's good stress and there's bad stress. Like before we come out here,
Right.
for doing this PD, this professional development, just start kicking in a little more. But I guess you can call it that good stress. But we all have stress. I mean, even before a PT test, I think everybody, when you walk through that door of the gym, it's your PT test, your official test, and you want to do well on it. Your whole objective is going in and try to get the best scores possible. But you are nervous, especially that run part. But I think we all have that stress, the stress factor.
And when it comes to that, it doesn't matter how well you're prepped and how well even though you're going to do great. Myself included, I'm always going to be stressed when I get in there. So, but when you're exercising, you take care of yourself. A lot of times you have that sense of you just feel good mentally.
Yeah.
And I don't think you have to be vain. to feel good necessarily?
No. So I just, my opinion was, you working out, when you're in the gym, getting big in the gym, it's a self-confident thing. It builds your self-esteem if you see your body. If your body is changing,
Exactly.
when you're working out and you feel that it's working for you and you're losing weight, it builds a little self-esteem there and gives you more drive. So I think that's for anybody. If you start working out and you see it working for you, it's going to drive you more to want to do it.
Exactly.
I mean, I know we have factors in life that sometimes throw a monkey wrench in that, but that's the overall goal there. You see yourself work out, you see the results of it, and you be like, okay, I need to keep doing this. It gives you a little more energy, a little more drive to do it.
Helps you at the emotional level,
Yeah.
depression, and gets rid of that depression and all that
Depression
stuff.
too. A stressful day at work. I know a lot of people probably do that. When they're stressed at work,
Yeah.
they probably go to do a run.
Right.
Go to the gym, hit the weights. Some people just want to go home and watch a movie. You know what I mean? But I'm saying
Yeah.
everybody's different. That's a good thing about all of us. We all different in how we want to relieve our stress.
You're right.
Yes, sir.
So now we'll kind of look at mental resiliency and how that kind of affects more on the physical side. By being mentally tough, that has a big influence on how you do physically, right? So there's a lot of, especially in the United States, there's a lot of issues going on right now with heart disease, just heart disease in general. A lot of people, you would think cancer would probably be like the number one killer, and it's actually heart disease. So it just goes to show you, issues with nutrition in the United States right now. A lot of obesity issues that are going on. And then you look at like hypertension, again, diabetes. Diabetes is really, really bad in my family. I've had several loved ones die at an early age, and a lot of that was just from making poor decisions.
Yes.
When it comes to eating
Yeah.
food, not exercising like they should. So all those things, they have a big influence, an impact on, your physical resilience, your immune system. A lot of people don't know that, how you eat and your sleep patterns and all that stuff. All that has an influence on your immune system. If you're not getting the right amount of sleep, and all that's a big influence. And you also look at the physical piece when it comes to your mental resilience. And the more you work out, the more you're in shape, and that's gonna help you focus. It's gonna help you with your memory, just your energy levels, how you perform. Not only I've noticed this a lot too, but people that exceed, or they do really good with their PT. If you'll notice, a lot of them do really good on the job too.
Okay.
And a lot of that just comes back to the amount of energy that you devote to something.
Okay,
That correlates.
I'm about to check into that one.
Yeah.
You got any data to support that?
Well, it's out. It's out there. It's out there. I've kind of seen it over the years. And I think a lot of that has to do with people. They put all the dedication that they put into their workouts and their
Yes.
routine, that carries over to work performance,
Yeah, I got
their mental performance.
I can see how they relate. I can see that
Yeah.
mentality, how they relate. I can see.
Yeah.
All right.
So, of course, that's not the case for everyone, but
Okay.
But so anyway, when it comes to nutrition, there are so many benefits to what that can do for your body. Fuel. You look at fuel. I think that would probably be one of the best things that can do for you. If you're not eating the way that you're supposed to, right? If you're not having several healthy meals throughout the day, that's going to impact your energy levels. And when you do have those healthy meals throughout the day, again, that's going to help you perform better in the gym.
Mhm.
It's going to help you perform better on the job. When you go home, you're going to have the energy to play with your kids if you got kids, or maybe you got homework you got to do. So if you're not eating the way that you're supposed to, you're not going to have those energy levels in order to do that. And I've talked to a lot of airmen who say that, well, I want to eat healthy, I want to do the right thing, but I just don't know how. And for whatever reason, they were never taught how to do that. And maybe some people don't have the time to go online and look up how to eat healthy.
True.
But the good thing is, here at Dyess, we do have a base dietitian.
Yes, we do.
She's very knowledgeable, and for those who, like I said, maybe you don't have the time to go online and look up meal plans. Well, that's what they're there for. So take advantage of that resource. Go see her, and everybody has a different body type, and that's what she's there for. She can give you a diet plan for your individual body type, and that's going to help you in the long run. So definitely use that, and just keep in mind that garbage in, garbage out. So if you guys are eating Burger King, Taco Bell, all these different fast food places all the time, maybe if you're in your early 20s, you might be okay.
I remember those days. So
Yeah.
Speaking of eating fast food, I mean, when you're young, it doesn't matter. Your body can burn it just like that. Even though you still should be eating healthy, but you really don't get, I said, in the mindset of thinking about what you eat until you get a little older, and when you're seeing stuff starting to get round on the midsection.
True.
So you're right about that. We should be more aware of what we eat, but I think as you get older, the mindset change, you get a little more mature and wiser in your decision.
Absolutely.
Because it affects how you look, so
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I know they say the dad bod is sexy, but I don't know.
I don't know. I don't got
no
no dad bod. I'm like 25 bod.
25 bod. Hey, that's all right. I'm trying to stick with that too. So, but another factor right now is this. Everybody's feeling tired these days.
Yes.
And I can relate to a certain degree, but some people, I think they seriously have issues where it's like every single day. You come to work, and some of the guys you work with, it's like every day. Oh, I'm tired. Oh, I'm tired.
Yeah.
And you ask them what's going on, and then a lot of it comes back to sleep. But one of the things that I've noticed too, and it's gaining in popularity, man, is caffeine. I remember when you used to go into gas stations and you wouldn't hardly see any of these energy drinks and stuff that you're seeing now, and it used to be just coffee. But now you go in and you see all these energy drinks like Bangs, Rain,
Red Bull.
Red Bull. There's there's so many varieties of caffeine, high caffeine beverages out there.
Full of sugar. Yes.
I think they say that the recommended amount of caffeine every day is like 400 milligrams, and some of the things that you drink now, they have almost all that in one. 300. It's very common to see 300 milligrams of caffeine in one energy drink. So just keep that in mind. And then the bad thing about these energy drinks with high amounts of caffeine is you kind of get that roller coaster effect, right? So you kind of get perked up for a little bit and you feel good, but then caffeine starts wearing out, so then you go back down,
Crash.
and then then what do? You have to drink more to last you throughout. So you're just doing this throughout the day, and while you're doing that, it's killing like you're increasing your heart rate. That's why a lot of people have problems with their heart. High blood pressure. Especially if you're very consistent with it, you're going to have a high increase of blood pressure. All right, especially as you get older, that's going to be a little bit more dangerous. And and if you have these types of drinks later in the afternoon, it's going to mess with your sleep.
True.
All right, and they usually say try to avoid caffeine 6 hours before you go to bed.
Yes.
To avoid sleep problems. But not everybody has issues with caffeine. Some people avoid it, but some people do. Where they lack the caffeine, they switch to like sugary snacks. And I get it. When you walk into grocery stores or you go into convenience stores, it's a lot easier to find like a sugary snack, than a healthy snack.
Yeah.
So, and unfortunately, that sugary snack has almost the same effect, where it spikes your insulin, and then you later you just come crashing down. And so again, you kind of have that yo-yo effect throughout the day, and that's going to mess with your energy levels, your mood swings, all those things really. And all your body needs is just extra sleep. So, and if just I would say just try to pick a healthier source of food. So instead of something high in sugar, maybe pick like a healthier carb source.
So fruit maybe.
Fruit's a little bit better. Oatmeal, things that have a stable carb source is going to keep your energy.
Natural sugar. Yeah.
Natural sugar, keep your energy levels stable. That's what you want.
True.
Stable energy throughout the day without all the spikes. So, physical fitness, can help in a variety of ways. Ultimately, that's going to help when it comes to the body and mind connection, how we were talking about earlier. And good nutrition is going to, of course, help with the performance. All right, and that's one of the biggest things that's for. And if your nutrition is poor, kind of like we were saying earlier, if you're eating a lot of fried food or high in sodium food, which that comes with eating out a lot, which a lot of people do, then you're going to start seeing issues of obesity. It's going to affect your performance. You're not going to be able to you're not going to be able to think as well on the job. A lot of daily tasks that you're going to be responsible for, you're going to have a harder time. And that's just because you're putting all this different, all this junk food, processed food into your body. That's why it's very important to, try to go organic, as much as possible. Try to cook your food, right? I mean, it's okay to eat out every now and then, but try to cook as organic as much as possible, and your body will perform so much better. If you like I said, kind of like how we said earlier, if you don't know how to cook, that's what we got the base dietitian for. I've used them before. Have you ever used a base dietitian?
Matter of fact, I've been over there one time. I have. Basically, like you said, she goes through a plan with you about what to eat, or even how to go about eating throughout the day, how much to eat, portion wise, and all that. So I mean, they are there for your help. So they are located at the gym. So hey.
Yes. And like I said earlier, everybody has their own body type. You got people with a crazy metabolism, who they can eat anything they want.
Genetics. I'll call that genetics.
Oh yeah.
You got good genetics.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll talk about metabolism here in a minute, and then you got people with a body type where they can't eat anything they want. And as a matter of fact, if they eat certain foods, then they start putting on weight.
Yes.
That's why it's very important to go see an expert, and tell them that way they can kind of see what type of body type you have and make you a plan according to that. So. And then fitness goals, fitness goals is another very important thing to have. Of course, the main fitness goal should probably be passing your PT test.
Yes. That
should be number one.
That could be a career ender.
Yes.
Career ender there.
You only get a few shots.
Hey.
But maybe you just pass your PT test, and so now you want to move on to maybe something you enjoy a little bit more. For some people that might be strength training. For some people, they might be endurance training.
Yes.
I got a lot of friends who like doing marathon running. All right. So, and I think that's great. I think it's great if you can pick something that you're interested in, because if you pick something that you're interested in doing, a lot of times you stick with it.
Yes.
And I think that's just fitness 101. Find something you enjoy doing that pushes you, and you'll stick with it a lot longer compared to something that you don't enjoy doing. Recovery is another important thing when it comes to your fitness goals. When I was in my early 20s, I could have probably worked out every day, 7 days a week. Now I'm getting a little bit older. Starting recovery is not as easy as it used to be. I'm sure you can relate, right?
I can relate as getting. Are you trying to pass a joke here or something?
I'm just saying, overall, I just think you probably can relate.
I mean, I'm getting older too.
Right.
I say older, and nobody old around here. But
No.
Older, ER. So yes, as your body get older, yes. As
40,
you get older,
40 is the new 20. That's what I heard.
40 is the new 20. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I don't know if that's true.
Yes, you're right. Your body changes as time go by. Your body changes, and you have to adapt to your body or your metabolism.
There
You
we
are
go.
correct, Sir Lolly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Routine. I think that's another good one. I love my wife, but she just doesn't have a good routine. She just likes to show up in the gym and just try to figure it out as you go. And
you're gonna get it.
I'm probably
You're gonna get it.
Yeah, we can edit that out, right?
Yeah,
okay, cool.
You gonna get it.
Routine is very important. If you walk in the gym and you don't know what you're doing, then you're not going to be very successful. You're going to have issues, and that's why they say it's always better to kind of plan out what you're doing for that week,
Yes.
At least for that day, before you step in the gym. And that way, if you kind of miss a day, then you already kind of have an idea what you got planned for that week, and you can make up for it. So just something to think about. And also something else that they're kind of shifting our mindset toward, because it used to be, hey, always want to you always want to manage your time.
Mm-hmm.
Time is very important.
It is.
And time is important.
Yeah.
But the problem is if you don't have the energy levels, to actually perform during that time frame,
Mm-hmm.
that's when you're going to have issues, right? So the old paradigm was, hey, we need to manage our time. Time is the most important thing. Whereas the new paradigm is, manage your energy levels. But because you got to think is, you have a set number of hours during the day where you can, be successful in, and that's different for everybody. For some people it's 8, some people it's 12 hours. But the thing is, if you don't have, if you haven't been dieting, if you haven't been eating correctly, you're not going to be able to use that time wisely because you're going to be dead. So that's kind of keep that in mind. Stress is another thing. They always used to say avoid stress.
Yes.
Avoid stress. Stress is bad, and to a certain degree that is correct. That is correct, but there is such thing as seeking healthy stress, kind of like we're doing now.
Mm-hmm. Good stress, yes.
Public speaking. I always like to use the gym as an example. When you're lifting weights, when you're working out, I'm hoping you're stressing your body a little bit. Everybody is a little bit different as far as how much stress they put on their body. If you're doing cardio, maybe it might not be as much as stress, but there should be a healthy amount of stress when you're working out. If you're afraid of public speaking, and that's something maybe you want to try to stress your body with a little bit, that's some examples of healthy stress. So not all stress is bad. Another old paradigm is they used to say downtime is a wasted time. Kind of agree with that to a certain extent, but some downtime can be looked at as productive time. You can't be go all the time 24/7. Eventually, that's going to kind of catch up with you. And I'll use the example of me and my wife on Friday afternoons. A lot of times we just like to watch a movie, stay home, watch a movie, order a pizza.
That's your cheat night.
That's my cheat night.
Okay.
Usually one night.
Okay.
One night. It's there's nothing wrong with a cheat meal here and there. So that's our recovery time. You work hard throughout the week. You push your body. You just kind of need that recovery time to mentally and physically. You need that.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah. So without that, next one is life is a marathon. The old paradigm used to say, life is a marathon, and to a certain degree, I kind of agree with that. But now they're looking at more as a series of sprints.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and us being in the military, one of the things that we learn, especially in day one in basic training, is hurry up and wait, and we kind of use those. We kind of still use that now. And I think the big takeaway on that is there's going to be times in your life where there's going to be time to work. There's going to be time you need to, whatever taskers you got to do at that time, you need to make it happen. But then there's also going to be times where you have downtime. Take advantage of it.
True.
Use that for recovery.
Yes.
A lot of people have issues with that. A lot of people, they either they don't know how to take that downtime and use it wisely. They just can't stop for whatever reason. And then at the other end of the spectrum is you got those folks who, when it's time to put in work, they don't want to put in work.
Yes.
So just kind of keep those in mind. But overall, I think life is still considered a marathon. Self-discipline is another big one. The old paradigm used to say is, self-discipline is the key to success. And while that still remains true, you can have all the self-discipline in the world. However, if you don't have a good routine in place for that self-discipline, it's not going to do you any good, right? So I've met a lot of self-disciplined people, but they didn't really have a good daily, weekly, monthly routine in place, and that hurt them. I mean, it hurts them in the long run, right? And the same could be said for a routine. You could have a good, solid routine in place, and we'll use physical fitness for example. You might have a good plan where someone gave you and said, "Hey, this is what I need you to do," but you don't have the self-discipline to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and do it.
Got you.
So I think the two are very important.
The effort, the drive, and the effort, huh?
Exactly.
Okay.
And just to wrap it up on this one, time and energy, they're both very important, and you do need to make sure you invest in time throughout your day, because time, you only get so much time every day, right?
Yes, sir.
You know, but just make sure that you're doing everything that you need to do to have the right amount of energy for to be putting in during that time frame. Kind of going back to sleep, a lot of benefits. There are huge benefits to getting the right amount of sleep. A lot of people don't understand, the importance of just memory, cognitive performance, physical performance when it comes to getting sleep. Just your overall mood. I mean, I don't know about you, Sergeant Cohen, but if I get anything less than usually like 6 or 7 hours of sleep, then my mood, because I'm usually a pretty happy-go-lucky guy.
What's the standard time? Is it 7 hours?
7 to 9 is the recommended.
Okay, so I know a lot of people don't get that one. So my average is about 5. So I mean, everybody functions differently.
Beast.
You try to get them.
Beast.
You try to get those 6, 7, 8 hours. But I think the body, as you get older, your body gets set on a certain time frame. Now on a Saturday or Sunday, I can just wake up and just roll back over.
Oh, man.
That's a good day. But like you're saying though, but if I have to get up early the next morning, I would definitely cut the TV off, because I think a lot of it, which is your next slide we'll talk about,
right,
is the distraction of a TV being on and then shutting the TV off, so you can almost force yourself to go to sleep. So no distractions. So
yeah, metabolism. If you're not getting the right amount of sleep, that's going to affect your metabolism. A lot of people don't realize that. So if you're somebody, maybe you have a hard time losing weight, just kind of keep that in mind. Maybe try getting a few extra hours of sleep and see if that helps you. Just again, kind of like I was saying, just your overall mood. A lot of times if you're just in a bad mood every day, then try getting a few extra hours of sleep and see if that helps, because there's so many things that go into place when it comes to extra sleep. Your hormones, a lot of other physical things. I won't get into that now, but very, very important.
Yes.
Sleep. A couple of sleep facts and this kind of shows you how important it is. They found out that 80% of people they actually report sleep problems at least once a week. Now I think that's probably a lot more.
I think that could
than
be higher than that, but
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll go with that, but I think it could be higher.
The interactions that I have with military people, it's a lot higher than that.
Yeah.
So serious that the center of disease, they have figured out that it's so bad that they consider it a public health crisis, if that tells anything.
Yes.
So if you're one of those individuals, maybe you're having a hard time sleeping and you don't know how to fix it, then we're going to give you some pointers and some tips that might be able to help you out. Now I'm not much of a diary person. I think you're more of a diary kind of guy, right?
I do not have no sleep
Okay.
diary.
Oh,
Not saying nobody can't have one.
Okay.
But I do not have a sleep diary.
All right.
I do not.
That's my bad. I thought you did. So I mean, if you're not a diary guy like us, then maybe mentally, mentally just keep track of.
A lot better.
Yeah. Keep track of maybe what time you're falling asleep. Try to keep it consistent. All right, and if you're only getting 6 hours of sleep, 5 or 6 hours of sleep, like some people, and you're feeling bad, then all right, start going to bed maybe an hour, get an extra hour of sleep, and maybe 2. All right, just keep a log. Try to keep it consistent. If you're going to bed at 9 o'clock on Monday, you don't want to be going to bed at 12 o'clock on Tuesday. Keep it consistent. And that just comes down to developing good sleep habits, all right? You want to try to get the same amount of sleep every day. So if you're getting 7-8 hours on Monday, all right, you don't want to be getting 5 and 6 on Tuesday. You want to keep it consistent, throughout the week. And really, that comes down to having that routine, having that self-discipline to cut yourself off at a certain time frame. If you're talking on the phone, it's 8 o'clock. You're like, all right, hey, I gotta let you go. I gotta get ready for bed. There's so many different things that can come into play with that. But you just gotta have that self-discipline to make sure you're getting your butt in bed at a certain time. All right. Some other things that can help you guys go to sleep. A lot of people don't realize this is TV. A lot of people like to watch TV in the bed. All right. A lot of people like to read on their phone. But the issue with that is they find out that the blue light on the TV and on your cell phone actually has the same effect on your body as sunlight. And I have actually kind of witnessed that. I've noticed, before I get in bed, and you'd be really tired, but then you get in your bed and you get on your phone and you start going through maybe like your social media, and it's just like, oh, you're just wide awake. Has that ever happened to you?
Wide awake. I mean, so I say this: I don't have no social media for things. I don't have social media. However, though,
Smart man.
like you just said about the TV, the blue light, I can't see the blue light. I guess it's some kind of thing in the TV that messes your eyes or something. But I know they told us about. I think the doctor told me one time that when you're supposed to do everything someplace else. You don't read in. You don't want you reading in bed. Don't want you sleeping. I mean, watching TV in bed, doing homework in bed. When you go to bed, you're supposed to go to bed.
Go to bed.
So that just programs your mind. So when you hit that bed, you are out. I mean, I think a lot of us don't do that, but that's what when I went to the doctor, I was talking about sleeping, and I tell him my 5 hours, and they ask me what I've been doing, so I tell them everything, but I think that's kind of hard to do. I mean, but there's probably some people do it, but to remove everything from the bed, when you go there, that's the whole purpose there to go sleep. So.
And what it is that comes down to your melatonin, not to get all scientific, but that has to do with your.
Get kind of deep.
Oh, is that deep?
That's
yeah.
Deep.
Well, we'll avoid that.
That's a joke.
We'll be here all day.
You can talk about it.
But eating heavy is another big one. A lot of people, when you eat dinner, try not to eat right before you go to bed, because that's going to mess up with your melatonin. You're not going to be able to fall asleep right away if you're full. Your body's still digesting your food, so just make sure you give your body a couple hours before you go to bed. Working out, a lot of people like to work out in the afternoon, which is okay. Problem, you want to try to avoid working out and then immediately try to go to bed, because as you work out, a lot of times you're still gonna have a lot of energy. You'll have a certain amount of time frame afterwards where your adrenaline's pumped up. You're still ready to go after the workout. So it takes a few hours for your body to wind down.
Yeah.
That's why I work out in the morning. Gonna kind of gives me that energy throughout the day.
Yes, sir.
And then a lot of people too, they pre-workout. They take the pre-workout in the afternoon, and depending on what time you take the pre-workout, because they always say, try to avoid caffeine 6 hours before your bedtime. So depending on when you work out in the afternoon, you might be kind of cutting into your sleep time. So let's just make sure you plan that out, and kind of avoid. That goes into the next thing: avoiding caffeine before bed. Naps. A good example. I took a nap today at lunch, right after lunch, 20 minutes. I woke up, I feel like crap, but then, after a few minutes, I felt a lot better. It's just that initial, couple minutes after you wake up from a nap. But again, I did it at the right time. I did it right after lunch.
Yes,
If you're one of those people, you'd like to take naps around 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you want to avoid that, because, typically when you take naps that late in the day, that's going to mess with your REM cycle, right? So try to avoid that. If it's already that far in the afternoon, just try to push it out and go to bed at a normal time.
I need you to clarify, let them know that you was off today, so you didn't take a nap during lunchtime, doing work.
True.
After work, So I mean,
That is true.
I don't want them to think you're sleeping on the job. So
Right.
He was off today.
I was off today.
Yes. So LRS, we stay busy. So
Full charged. Full charged. All right. So this time we're going to do a quick, activity where you guys just ask yourselves some questions.
Yes.
All right. Just so as we're talking this out, this might be something you just want to ask yourself and see how you feel about it. All right. So just overall, are you when it comes to physical activity, physical resilience, are you satisfied right now where you're at with your overall health?
So with that, those 3 items there, I think they all critical. They all play together as one, because you can't really do one without the other. Nutrition, exercise, and sleep. To have a good health, I think all those are key factors. Are we where we want to be? No. I mean that's why we have to keep working. And the older you get, the more you got to work harder and eat less. Thanks to eat less, but watch the stuff you eat even more. And so. With all 3 of those categories there, with all 3 of those items there, nutrition, exercise, and sleep, all 3 are critical to make a healthy body and a healthy mind. So,
And another thing too, I think a lot of times people need to kind of go back and look at their values.
Yeah.
You know, what drives you. A lot of times, and I'll use COVID-19 as an example of that. Is, you know, before COVID-19 started being an issue, you know, when the gym was open, a lot of people were working out and doing what they were supposed to do, and then all of a sudden you can't go to the gym anymore. So a lot of people they just kind of gave it up. You know, people stopped working out and just stayed home and, you know, and eat. So you know, the biggest, you know, question you got to ask yourself is, you know, what was the big factor before this happened, right? So what kind of goals did you have before that? You know, what was driving you?
Yeah.
You know, that could be different for everybody.
So I can see it by hitting the weights. Maybe the weights parts are trying to get lifting the gym, you know, lift the weights, you know, getting big. I can see that part, but let's not let the gym be an excuse not to stay fit. You know,
Right.
so I'm big on that one because I hear a lot of that. And now, the gym was closed, I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that. Okay, I understand if you're doing weight part, but you could also do stuff at home to stay physically fit. You know, everybody's different, but I'm just saying though, I don't want us to use the gym for an excuse, because there's always ways to maintain your fitness without the gym.
I mean, honestly, yeah. If you look at the PT test, it's the run, push-ups, and sit-ups.
Yes.
You don't need weights for that. You know. But you know, for some folks, yeah, that's, you know, just use that
It's a
as
nicety.
crutch.
It's a nicety.
It is.
It's a nicety.
No, you're
You know, have the gym there, a place you can go. I think it's more of a embedded in your brain. This is a place I go to work out. So a lot of people get used to that routine, going to the gym. But like we're saying though, hey, if that happened, you got to be able to adapt to change, like we did with COVID-19. You know, a lot of things change with you know, telework and all this different stuff. Not to change the subject, but same thing with going to the gym. You know, if we can't go to the gym, then okay, what's the backup? What's the alternate plan to do now to stay fit? So,
and I think you hit it on, you know, a good point there is, whenever things change, it throws people off, and they kind of forget why they were doing that to begin with, you know. And I think it's very important to try to remember why you were doing it to begin with. You know, for me, you know, like I said earlier, you know, growing up, I had a lot of loved ones who died at an early age, and that was because they you know, they didn't eat very healthy, and you know, a lot of them, they smoked, they drank, and then, you know, growing up seeing those people die, it really influenced me, and you know, it made me want to kind of live a certain kind of way.
Sure.
And that kind of stick with me, right? So like when I hit that, you know, part of my life where maybe something kind of throws me off, and I just remember like, hey, I don't want to be like those family members who, you know, who suffer with diabetes, who had all these all these different kind of health issues. I don't want that to happen to me. I want to be around, take care of my loved ones. You know, my wife. I don't have kids yet, but you know, so I think that's a very very important thing to keep in mind. Just reconnecting with your values.
Yes. So, like I just said, why is this important to you? They have different reasons. Why do you value this aspect of your physical resilience? Because for me, it's more personal. Because, you know, like I say, you want to as you get older, you want to live. You want to live longer life, right?
Right.
I think what's
YOLO.
What was YOLO? What was it?
You only live once.
You only live once. I think as you get older, you want to grow old. It changes. You want to grow.
No
old.
more YOLO.
No more YOLO. Not live once. You want to grow. You want to live a long life, right?
Fair enough.
So, you know, so I think you change up the mindset. Okay, living once, and say I want to live a long life now. You know, so because we got kids, I want to be able to see my kids, grandkids. I want to see them go to college. It's a lot of things that you plan or you see in the future that you want to be a part of. So your mindset changes. You think long term now. You're thinking long term. And you want to be here for that. So only way you can be here is to change up your routines, like we talk about, your eating habits, your workout habits. So you just can't live life YOLO no more.
No.
Live life once. You can't do it no more. You have to think more maturely.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. We're not. You know, we can't control what happens to us every day. You know, we all understand that, you know, something can happen tomorrow, but you can't use that as a crutch.
There you go.
You know, so the big takeaway from this slide is, hey, if you're having a hard time, you know, with your nutrition, if you're having a hard time, you know, doing what you need to do as far as the gym, getting that good routine in, just reach back, find those goals that you originally had. Maybe you didn't have a good set of goals. Maybe you didn't have that driving factor. Now's a good time to find it. That way you'll have something to kind of fall back onto for a good reminder. Good. So that's a good wrap up. So we'll just do a quick review on physical resilience. So just remember, when it comes to physical resilience, all right, that's going to improve a lot of different things. Overall, just your overall physical productivity. That could be at work, that could be at home, in the gym, outside of the gym. There's so many different factors where, where that can help you in all aspects of your life. Okay, when it comes to your attention, focus, all right, that's another good aspect of it. That could be kind of like we said earlier. It could be WAPS testing. Maybe you're doing online school at home.
Copy.
You need that extra focus, memory, mood. You want to make sure you have the right set of mood all throughout the day. All right. You don't want to be in a bad mood where you kind of lose control. Like you said earlier, you don't want to lose it and snap on somebody.
Yes.
All right. And again, that goes back to nutrition, going to bed on time. So how do you improve that, right? And that's improving those sleep habits like we talked about, making sure you getting enough sleep for you. I'll just say that not everybody needs 9 hours of sleep. We understand that, or maybe not. You just can't get 9 hours of sleep, but just make sure you get enough sleep to where you're not having those side effects. Okay, and then also just take a look at what kind of value goals do you have for yourself. Everybody has a different set of value goals. You might have some spiritual goals. Value. Everybody has a different set of values that they hold for themselves. So just kind of keep that in mind. Bring it back if you need to, and then what kind of goals just find out what kind of goals are important to you. What is the most important thing to you, and keep that in mind, and that kind of help give you motivation. And then another question is, what is something that you want to achieve in the next 24 hours? All right, like we said, now is the time to act. All right, you don't want to wait. So the next 24 hours, what are some goals that you guys want to achieve? 2 weeks, maybe the next 2 weeks, what is something that you want to accomplish? 3 weeks, three months. That's some of the things you kind of need to be taking a look at. I'm sure you do the same thing. I'm constantly doing that internally. In my head, what is something that I want to accomplish short term and long term, and then also kind of come up with a game plan of, what are some of the issues that you could potentially face based off that. We all have obstacles that we deal with,
Yes.
Whether it be at work or maybe at home. There's always something that you're going to have issues with. But if you already kind of have that planned out in your mind, hey, these are some of the issues that I'm going to come across, and then have a game plan for that it kind of help with your stress levels and things like that, and just revisit your goals. I make goals all the time, and then I'm also updating and changing my goals as the weeks go by, because life happens. You probably had a goal, hey, I'm going to do this week, and then life happened, and now you kind of have to make some adjustments and change your goals up. So, that's just some of the things that some tools to use to kind of help with your overall physical resilience.
So at this time, if we got any questions, we can answer any questions that you have.
We got one question from Chief Mac. What are some good supplements to use along with exercise and a diet plan?
Okay. Well, I would say there are a few basics, Chief, that you could always include, in your routine, that I feel like are pretty safe. A whey protein powder is always a good choice. I'm a big believer also in creatine. Creatine has a lot of benefits to it. Giving you a little bit more energy. BCAAs is also another good one. As you get older, your recovery is not as good. I'm not looking at you, because you're older or anything. I'm just saying, as you get older, your recovery is not as good. So BCAAs is another one that I'll put out there. What else? Pre-workout. If you're okay with a little bit of caffeine, I think pre-workout has its place. As long as you cycle it, a little bit of caffeine. Studies have shown a little bit of caffeine can help push your performance a little bit further than without it. There's a few other things out there, or there's a lot of other supplements out there, but that's some of the basics that you can include in your your diet routine that will it will push you a long way. So.
That's it. That's all the questions.
That's the only question.
All right, so if we want to say thank y'all for tuning in to this Dyess Top 3 Professional Development YouTube Live. I want to say thank you to Professional Development Committee, Sergeant Henderson, Sergeant Jets, Sergeant Tester, and put y'all on blast because I do appreciate y'all making the effort to get this started during the COVID-19 so we can continually develop our leaders, and that's Big A. So I thank y'all for getting this together, putting this together, and again, thank everybody for tuning in, and from the mighty LRS, we thank y'all. Talk to y'all later.
Thank you for watching. That was a broadcast of the Dyess Top 3 organization. We broadcast at 1500 on Thursday and Friday every week. Have a great day.